Kira Velsektari adjusted the uncomfortable human clothing and forced herself not to wince at the cacophony assaulting her enhanced hearing. The morning rush at Terra Nova Colonial Academy was like stepping into organized chaos, hundreds of teenage humans shouting, laughing, and moving in seemingly random patterns that somehow avoided collisions. Her people, the Sectorians, had studied human settlements for decades, but experiencing one firsthand made her question the intelligence reports. Exchange student from the Centauri Educational Collective, she repeated to herself, checking the false credentials one final time. The cover identity was flawless, 3 years in development, backed by enough digital paperwork to satisfy even paranoid human bureaucrats. Her target, Maya Rodriguez, daughter of the colony administrator, attended classes in the North Wing. A simple assassination during lunch period would complete the contract and send a clear message about interfering with Sectorian expansion plans. The assignment should have been beneath someone of her caliber. Princess Kira held the highest combat ranking in the Sectorian Elimination Corps, her genetic modifications perfected through 16 generations of selective breeding. Enhanced reflexes, photographic memory, adaptive camouflage cells, and integrated weapon systems made her the deadliest operative in 3-star systems. Killing one human teenager in a school full of witnesses would barely qualify as training. Yet something about this place felt wrong. Not dangerous, humans couldn't possibly threaten her, but unpredictable in ways that didn't match the tactical assessments. "You must be our new exchange student?" A cheerful voice made Kira turn toward a middle-aged human woman approaching with a tablet. "I'm Principal Martinez. Welcome to Terra Nova Academy." "Thank you," Kira replied, modulating her voice to match human speech patterns. "I am honored to study among your students." Principal Martinez beamed and gestured toward the main building. "Your first class is Advanced Digital Systems with Mr. Patterson, room 247, North Wing. I'll have one of our students show you the way, Jake." Perfect timing. A lanky human male with unruly brown hair jogged over, backpack slung carelessly over one shoulder. His clothing appeared deliberately disheveled, and he carried what looked like multiple communication devices. "Hey there, exchange student. Jake Morrison, your friendly neighborhood tour guide and occasional digital artist." "Digital artist?" Kira asked as they walked. "Hacker," Jake corrected with a grin. "But we don't say that in front of the faculty. Come on, I'll show you the best routes through the school." Pro tip, avoid the main hallways during passing periods unless you enjoy being trampled by underclassmen. As they navigated through corridors lined with student lockers and bulletin boards covered in incomprehensible announcements, Kira cataloged security measures. Cameras at regular intervals, badge scanners at key checkpoints, and what appeared to be motion sensors near administrative areas. Standard human technology, easily circumvented with her adaptive camouflage. "So, Centauri Collective, huh?" Jake chatted as they climbed stairs. "That's pretty far out. What's it like having 3 sons?" "Different," Kira replied vaguely. The cover story included details about a fictional human colony, but this student's casual interest seemed genuine rather than suspicious. "Fair enough, here's room 247. Mr. Patterson's cool, he actually knows what he's talking about, unlike most adults who think cybersecurity means using numbers in your password." Jake paused at the doorway. "You seem pretty quiet for someone traveling between star systems. Everything okay?" The question caught Kira off guard. Her enhanced empathy sensors detected no deception or hidden agenda, just genuine concern from a stranger. Such behavior contradicted everything she knew about human social dynamics. "I am adjusting to your educational environment," she said carefully. "Right on. If you need anything, I'm usually in the computer lab during lunch. See you around, mystery girl." Kira entered the classroom and selected a seat with clear sightlines to all exits. Advanced Digital Systems appeared to focus on network architecture and security protocols, knowledge that would actually prove useful for infiltrating the school's administrative systems. As students filtered in, she identified potential threats and assets with practiced efficiency. Then Maya Rodriguez walked through the door. The target was smaller than expected, with dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail and clothing that prioritized function over appearance. Her movements showed confidence without arrogance, and she carried a tablet covered in stickers that appeared to be inside jokes. Nothing about her suggested the pampered administrator's daughter that intelligence reports described. Maya, several students called out greetings as she took a seat near the front. Did you finish the Peterson project? Finished, I turned it into a working prototype. Maya pulled out a small device that looked like a modified communicator. Check this out, I figured out how to bypass the campus network restrictions without triggering security alerts. A cluster of students immediately gathered around her desk, examining the device with obvious admiration. Their conversation quickly devolved into technical jargon that pushed the limits of Kira's linguistic programming, but the general topic was clear. Maya had successfully hacked the school's network security. That's brilliant, said a girl with bright purple hair. Sophia's been trying to crack those firewalls for weeks. Sophia needs to think like an administrator instead of an attacker, Maya replied. The restrictions aren't there to stop us, they're there to stop lawsuits. If you make it look like legitimate educational research, the system barely pays attention. Mr. Patterson entered the classroom and immediately noticed the gathering around Maya's desk. Instead of confiscating the device, he examined it with professional interest. Elegant solution, he said finally, though I hope you're not planning to use this for anything that might get me fired. Just research, Mr. P, Maya promised. We're documenting security vulnerabilities for the district IT department. Totally legitimate. Of course you are, he returned the device with a knowing smile. Just remember that legitimate research requires proper documentation and responsible disclosure. Now everyone take your seats. Today we're discussing penetration testing methodologies. Kira found herself genuinely intrigued despite her mission objectives. This wasn't the primitive technology demonstration she'd expected. These students were discussing advanced techniques that approached sectarian-level sophistication. More importantly, their teacher was actively encouraging such activities rather than attempting to control them. The class period passed quickly as Mr. Patterson led discussions about ethical hacking, social engineering, and network forensics. Students participated with an enthusiasm that suggested genuine expertise rather than academic memorization. When Jake mentioned something called distributed denial of service attacks, half the class groaned in recognition. Don't even get me started on DDoS, said a student with multiple piercings and a laptop covered in programming stickers. Tyler spent all weekend dealing with script kiddies trying to crash the student portal. Tyler handles network maintenance, Kira asked. Student IT core, Maya explained. The district can't afford proper technical support, so they let us handle routine maintenance and security monitoring. It's basically an unpaid internship with better benefits. What kind of benefits? Complete administrative access to anything we can justify as educational, Jake said with obvious pride. Plus, we get to implement our own security improvements. It's like having the keys to the kingdom, except the kingdom trusts us not to burn it down. The implications were staggering. These teenagers had legitimate access to the school's entire digital infrastructure, administrative privileges that would take Kira hours to hack, and enough technical knowledge to detect intrusions. Her assassination plan suddenly seemed considerably more complicated. When the bell rang, students began packing their belongings with practiced efficiency. Maya approached Kira's desk as the classroom emptied. You looked pretty lost during the penetration testing discussion, she said. Different curriculum on Centauri. Very different, Kira replied honestly. Want to sit with us at lunch? We can give you the real orientation. You know which teachers to avoid, where to find decent food, how to access the good Wi-Fi networks. The invitation was clearly genuine, but it also presented an opportunity. Spending time with the target would allow Kira to study her habits and identify vulnerabilities. I would appreciate that. Cool, meet us in the computer lab around noon. Fair warning, we get pretty deep into tech talk, so don't feel bad if it gets overwhelming. As Maya left the classroom, Kira began revising her tactical assessment. The target wasn't just the administrator's daughter. She was a skilled hacker with extensive knowledge of the school systems and a network of equally capable friends. Eliminating her during lunch would be simple enough, but extracting afterward might prove challenging if her disappearance triggered a coordinated investigation. The morning classes passed in a blur of human educational rituals. Kira endured discussions about colonial literature, basic engineering principles, and something called social studies that seemed designed to confuse rather than educate. Her enhanced memory recorded everything automatically, but she found herself paying more attention to student interactions than academic content. These teenagers operated like a sophisticated intelligence network. Information flowed through informal channels faster than official announcements. Problems were solved collaboratively without adult supervision, and everyone seemed to have specialized knowledge that contributed to collective capabilities. It was remarkably similar to sectarian pack dynamics, except completely voluntary and apparently driven by genuine friendship rather than hierarchical obligation. When lunch period arrived, Kira made her way to the computer lab with growing curiosity. The room contained dozens of workstations running multiple operating systems, walls covered with network diagrams and programming references, and enough server hardware to support a small military installation. 5 students were gathered around a central workstation, engaged in animated discussion over code scrolling across multiple monitors. "Hey, mystery girl," Jake waved her over. Perfect timing. "We're trying to figure out why the district's new firewall keeps flagging legitimate traffic as potential intrusions." "It's not flagging the traffic," said Sophia, the girl with purple hair. "It's flagging the users. Someone programmed behavioral analysis protocols that treat any deviation from baseline activity as suspicious." "That's actually pretty smart," Maya admitted. "Annoying but smart. If students start accessing resources they've never used before, the system assumes it's unauthorized." "So how do we fix it?" asked Tyler, a quiet student who'd been running network diagnostics on a secondary monitor. "We don't fix it," said another girl Kira hadn't met. "We train it." "Elena, show them the login pattern analysis." Elena pulled up a database that appeared to contain months of access logs. "See, the AI is looking for anomalies, but it doesn't understand that students have different usage patterns during different projects. If we can demonstrate legitimate educational reasons for accessing new resources, the system should adapt." "Or," Jake said with a mischievous grin, "we could demonstrate that the behavioral analysis is fundamentally flawed by showing how easily it can be fooled." "Jake, no," Maya said automatically. "We are not starting a war with the district IT department again. Come on, that was educational. We proved their previous security model was garbage. We proved it by shutting down half their servers." Details. Kira listened to this exchange with growing amazement. These students were casually discussing techniques that would challenge professional military hackers. More importantly, they were doing it as a team, with each member contributing specialized expertise toward common goals. Their capabilities weren't just impressive, they were genuinely frightening. "What do you think, exchange student?" Sophia turned toward Kira. "Any interesting security challenges on Centauri?" The question seemed innocent enough, but something in Sophia's tone triggered Kira's threat assessment protocols. "Nothing comparable to your situation here." "Really? Because I've been reading about the Centauri Educational Collective and their network architecture sounds fascinating." Sophia's fingers moved across her keyboard with casual efficiency. "Distributed processing nodes, quantum-encrypted communications, biometric access controls integrated with genetic identification systems." Kira's enhanced hearing detected the slight emphasis on genetic identification, and her combat instincts went to full alert. "You seem well-informed about colonial infrastructure." "I'm well-informed about everything," Sophia replied cheerfully. "It's kind of my thing. For instance, did you know that genetic identification systems can be reverse-engineered if you have access to enough biological samples and computing power?" The computer lab fell silent. Jake, Maya, Tyler, and Alina were all watching the exchange with sudden intensity, and Kira realized she'd walked into a carefully orchestrated trap. "That's an interesting theoretical discussion," she said carefully. "Oh, it's not theoretical." Maya pulled up a new window on her workstation. "We've been analyzing hair follicles from the morning rush. You know, the ones that fall off naturally when people push through crowded hallways. Turns out genetic sequencing is pretty straightforward if you don't mind spending a few hours with publicly available bioinformatics tools." Tyler's workstation chimed with an incoming message. "Facial recognition analysis is complete," he announced. "Cross-referenced against colonial immigration databases, educational exchange programs, and known criminal organizations." "Criminal organizations?" Kira asked, hoping her voice sounded appropriately confused rather than concerned. "Standard security practice," Alina explained. When someone claims to be from a place that doesn't exist, we like to find out who they really are. Jake's workstation displayed a series of photographs, surveillance images from spaceports, security checkpoints, and what appeared to be crime scenes. In each photo, Kira's face was clearly visible despite her attempts at disguise. Princess Kira Velsektari, Sophia read from a growing file of intelligence reports, elite operative of the Sectorian Elimination Corps. Wanted by colonial security for 17 confirmed assassinations, including 3 heads of state and a senior trade negotiator. Genetic modifications include enhanced reflexes, adaptive camouflage, integrated weapon systems, and accelerated healing, Tyler added. Oh, and she's here to kill Maya. Maya looked up from her workstation with mild interest. Any particular reason, or is this just a random murder? Kira's mind raced through tactical options. Her cover was completely blown, her target knew about the assassination attempt, and she was surrounded by humans who'd somehow identified her species' most classified capabilities. Fighting her way out would be simple enough, but these students had clearly prepared for this confrontation. How? She asked finally. How did we know? Jake grinned. Easy. You're good at pretending to be human, but you're terrible at pretending to be a teenager. Your body language is all wrong, Sophia explained. You move like someone trained for combat, scan rooms like a security professional, and you have zero emotional reaction to social situations. Plus, your cover story fell apart the moment we started checking references. The Centauri Educational Collective doesn't exist, Alina added. We called the Colonial Administration office this morning. Turns out they're very interested in talking to anyone who claims to represent a fictional organization. Tyler held up his tablet, which displayed an active video conference with a stern-looking man in official uniform. Director Rodriguez, I'd like you to meet the person who's been trying to kill your daughter. Princess Kira, Director Rodriguez said from the screen, Colonial Security has been tracking your activities for quite some time. I understand you're currently surrounded by my daughter's friends. Kira looked around the computer lab, finally understanding the scope of her miscalculation. These weren't just students. They were a coordinated intelligence unit that had identified her, researched her background, exposed her mission, and contacted relevant authorities all in the span of a few hours. How many people know about this? She asked. Maya consulted her tablet. Well, there's us 5, my dad, Colonial Security, the school administration, about 47 other students who have been tracking the investigation through our group chat, and, she paused as new notifications appeared. Oh wow, this is going viral. Someone leaked the security footage to the galactic net. Jake's workstation displayed what appeared to be a social media feed with thousands of rapidly updating comments. The headline read, Elite Alien Assassin Gets OWNED by High School Hackers. Sophia, did you seriously livestream a counterintelligence operation? Maya asked. Educational value, Sophia replied innocently. Plus, the advertising revenue should cover our college tuition. Alina pointed to another screen showing view counts in the millions. We're trending on 6 different platforms. Teenagers vs. Assassins is spreading across the entire colonial network. Tyler pulled up additional feeds showing news outlets, military forums, and academic journals all discussing the incident. The Sectorian Elimination Corps is getting absolutely roasted in the comments. Apparently, sending elite operatives after teenagers is considered pretty pathetic. Kira watched in fascination as her failure became galactic entertainment. Combat reports describing her enhanced capabilities were being dissected by amateur analysts, her infiltration techniques were being mocked by security professionals, and her entire species' reputation for tactical superiority was crumbling in real time. This is unprecedented, she admitted. Welcome to human information warfare, Jake said cheerfully. We don't just defeat our enemies, we humiliate them so thoroughly that nobody else wants to try the same thing. Maya stood up from her workstation and approached Kira with the same casual confidence she'd shown all morning. So here's what's going to happen. Colonial Security wants to arrest you, which is fair since you did try to murder me, but my friends and I have a better idea. What kind of idea? Sophia grinned and pulled up a new document. You're going to help us design a comprehensive security curriculum for colonial schools. Turns out your infiltration attempt exposed some serious vulnerabilities in our defensive protocols. We figured if one alien assassin could get this far, others might try similar approaches. Alina explained. Your expertise could help us develop countermeasures that actually work. Tyler nodded toward his workstation, which displayed technical schematics that looked remarkably sophisticated. We've already started reverse engineering your camouflage systems and genetic modification techniques. Having a subject matter expert would accelerate the research significantly. And if you cooperate, Maya added, we'll make sure the galactic net focuses on how you helped improve colonial security rather than how you got completely destroyed by a bunch of teenagers. Kira stared at the screens surrounding her, social media feeds. News reports, technical analyses, and security briefings all focused on her spectacular failure. These humans had turned her assassination attempt into educational content, entertainment, and a diplomatic incident that would reshape interstellar relations. More importantly, they were offering her something no sectarian had ever experienced: the chance to contribute to something greater than individual achievement. Your proposal has merit, she said finally, but I should warn you, the Sectorian Elimination Corps will not appreciate this development. Jake's grin widened. Let them come, we've got their number now. Maya laughed and gestured to the computer lab around them. Besides, you've seen what happens when people underestimate human teenagers. Do you really think adult humans are less dangerous? Kira looked around the room one more time. At the makeshift intelligence center these students had built, the global communications network they commanded, and the casual confidence with which they dismantled her entire mission. For the first time in her genetically enhanced life, she felt genuinely outmatched, and strangely, she found the experience exhilarating. When do we start? She asked. Director Rodriguez's voice came through Tyler's tablet. Welcome to the Colonial Defense Initiative, Princess Kira. Try not to teach them anything too dangerous. Sophia was already pulling up curriculum outlines. Alina had started documenting sectorian genetic modifications, and Jake was designing what appeared to be an advanced social media warfare course. Maya sat back down at her workstation and began typing rapidly. What are you working on? Kira asked. Updating your galactic net profile, Maya replied without looking up. Can't have the galaxy thinking we recruited a failure. By the time I'm done, you'll be the most legendary reformed assassin in 3-star systems. Kira watched her former target craft a public relations campaign that would rehabilitate her reputation while simultaneously demonstrating humanity's capacity for both warfare and forgiveness. It was a level of strategic thinking that surpassed anything in sectorian tactical doctrine. These humans didn't just win conflicts, they transformed enemies into allies, turned defeats into victories, and somehow made the entire process look effortless. No wonder the galaxy found them so terrifying. Over the following hours, Kira discovered that being interrogated by teenage hackers was unlike anything in her extensive combat training. Instead of traditional questioning techniques, they simply integrated her into their normal activities while casually extracting tactical intelligence. So when you activated your camouflage cells, Sophia asked while reviewing surveillance footage, was that a conscious decision or automatic response to perceived threat? Conscious activation, Kira replied, then realized she'd just revealed classified information about sectorian enhancement protocols. Why? Just wondering if we could trigger it remotely. Jake's been working on electromagnetic pulse generators that might interfere with biological cybernetics. Jake looked up from a device that appeared to be cobbled together from spare electronics. Not just interfere, I think we could actually hijack the control signals. Want to test it? The casual way they discussed weaponizing her own biology should have been alarming, but Kira found herself genuinely curious about their methods. That shouldn't be possible. Our enhancement systems are quantum encrypted. Quantum encryption is only unbreakable if you don't understand the underlying mathematics, Alina said, pulling up equations that made Kira's enhanced processing units strain to follow. Tyler cracked the basic algorithms about an hour ago. Tyler's workstation displayed what appeared to be a complete schematic of sectorian genetic modifications. Your people really overengineered these systems. There are about 12 different ways to disable each enhancement, plus a few methods for turning them against the user. That's concerning, Kira admitted. Don't worry, Maya said cheerfully. We're not planning to use any of this maliciously, but now that we know how your technology works, we can help other species develop countermeasures. The implications were staggering. In less than 6 hours, these students had reverse-engineered military technology that represented centuries of sectarian advancement. They weren't just defeating her mission, they were rendering her entire species' tactical advantages obsolete. "How are you this capable?" Kira asked. "Your intelligence reports suggested human teenagers were less sophisticated." Sophia snorted. "Intelligence reports written by adults who think we spend all day playing games and complaining about homework." "To be fair," Jake added, "we do spend a lot of time playing games. They just happen to be games that teach advanced cryptography, network penetration, social engineering, and strategic planning." Elena gestured to her workstation, which displayed what looked like a massively multiplayer simulation. "This is Galactic Conquest Online. 500,000 players across 17 star systems, all competing in real-time strategy scenarios that mirror actual interstellar conflicts. The game mechanics are based on authentic tactical doctrines," Tyler explained. "Players who want to succeed have to learn genuine military strategy, diplomatic negotiation, economic warfare, and intelligence operations." Plus, Maya added, "the top guilds recruit players for actual internships with corporate security firms, government agencies, and military contractors. Academic achievement gets you into college, gaming achievement gets you into careers." Kira stared at the simulation running on Alina's screen. The strategic complexity rivaled professional military planning software, and the player discussions in the chat channels demonstrated sophisticated understanding of tactics that should have been classified. "Your entire generation is training for asymmetric warfare," she said slowly. "Training?" Sophia laughed. "We're already fighting it. Do you know how many corporate espionage attempts we deal with every week? Or political manipulation campaigns? Or cultural infiltration operations?" Jake pulled up security logs that showed dozens of attempted intrusions into the school's network. "Most adults think cybersecurity means installing antivirus software. We're dealing with state-sponsored hackers, criminal organizations, and the occasional alien intelligence service. That's why we spotted you so quickly," Alina explained. "Your infiltration techniques were sophisticated, but they followed patterns we see all the time. The genetic masking was new, but the behavioral analysis was textbook." Tyler nodded toward his workstation, which displayed a real-time threat assessment map. "We track approximately 200 ongoing security incidents per day across the Colonial Education Network. Your assassination attempt ranked about 7th in terms of potential danger." "What ranked higher?" Kira asked, morbidly curious. "Industrial sabotage targeting the atmospheric processors," Maya said, consulting her tablet. "Plus 3 corporate blackmail schemes, a political destabilization campaign, someone trying to steal our terraforming research, and a really persistent group that keeps attempting to hack our cafeteria payment system." "The cafeteria hackers are the most annoying," Sophia agreed. "They've been at it for months, and their methods keep getting more creative." Elena pulled up a folder labeled Ongoing Investigations that contained hundreds of files. "Want to see something really scary? This is just what we've detected. Professional intelligence estimates suggest we miss about 60% of actual hostile activities." Kira reviewed the file contents with growing amazement. These students were tracking threats that would challenge dedicated counterintelligence agencies, and they were doing it as extracurricular activities while maintaining normal academic schedules. "How do the adults not know about this?" she asked. "They know," Jake said. "They just pretend they don't know because officially acknowledging it would require them to do something about it." Tyler's tablet chimed with an incoming message. "Speaking of adults pretending things aren't happening, Kira, your people are responding to the viral videos." The main display showed what appeared to be an official sectarian military communication. The message was terse and diplomatic, but the underlying threat was clear: return Princess Kira immediately or face escalating consequences. "Escalating consequences," Sophia read aloud. "That's adorable." "Elena, show them the response draft." Elena's workstation displayed a document that appeared to be an official colonial security reply. The tone was professionally courteous, but the content was devastating: a point-by-point analysis of sectarian military capabilities, detailed countermeasures for each identified threat, and an offer to share defensive technologies with other species facing similar intimidation. "You're turning my failed assassination into a diplomatic crisis," Kira observed. "We're turning your failed assassination into a learning opportunity," Maya corrected. The galaxy needs to understand that sending killers after students is unacceptable behavior. Jake pulled up social media feeds showing the story spreading across multiple star systems. Teenagers vs. assassins had evolved into broader discussions about colonial security, alien intimidation tactics, and the effectiveness of human defensive strategies. The best part, Sophia said, pointing to comment threads, is watching other species realize that humans aren't actually helpless prey animals. Tyler highlighted several posts from what appeared to be alien social media accounts. The tone had shifted from amusement to concern as users began understanding the implications of human teenagers casually defeating elite military operatives. There's already speculation about human technological capabilities, Alina noted. Some of these commenters are suggesting that if our students can do this, our actual military must be terrifying. Which brings us to the really fun part, Maya said, pulling up a new document. Kira, we'd like you to help us design a public demonstration. What kind of demonstration? Jake grinned with obvious mischief. The kind that shows the galaxy exactly what human teenagers are capable of when we're not holding back. Over the next several hours, Kira found herself participating in the most elaborate piece of psychological warfare she'd ever encountered. The students designed a carefully orchestrated series of educational demonstrations that would showcase human technological capabilities while maintaining plausible deniability about military applications. Sophia created social media campaigns that would seem like typical teenage bragging but actually revealed sophisticated intelligence analysis techniques. Alina developed school science projects that demonstrated advanced materials engineering and energy manipulation. Tyler designed network maintenance procedures that showcased capabilities that bordered on digital warfare. And Maya coordinated everything with the kind of strategic thinking that would impress professional military planners. The key, Maya explained as they refined the demonstration plans, is making it look effortless. We want other species to realize that this is just what human students do for fun. But why reveal your capabilities? Kira asked. Wouldn't tactical surprise be more valuable? Tactical surprise is useful for winning individual conflicts, Jake replied. Strategic deterrence prevents conflicts from starting in the first place. Alina nodded toward the social media feeds, which showed declining support for military action against human colonies. Hard to justify attacking civilians when those civilians can hack your military networks and broadcast your tactical plans to the entire galaxy. Tyler pulled up intelligence reports showing other species quietly canceling aggressive policies toward human settlements. Turns out most governments prefer avoiding conflicts they can't win. Plus, Sophia added cheerfully, this way we get to help other species improve their own security. Win-win for everyone except the people trying to start wars. As the demonstration took shape, Kira began to understand the true scope of human strategic thinking. These teenagers weren't just responding to her assassination attempt, they were reshaping galactic politics through carefully managed information warfare. You've turned my mission failure into a diplomatic revolution, she said finally. Maya looked up from her workstation with a satisfied smile. We've turned your mission failure into a teaching moment. Now the galaxy knows that attacking human students is a really bad idea. You get to become a reformed hero instead of a failed assassin, and we all get college recommendations that will guarantee admission anywhere we apply. Don't forget the advertising revenue, Sophia reminded them. The viral videos are generating enough income to fund our entire computer science program for the next 3 years. Jake held up his latest creation, a device that appeared to combine several different pieces of alien technology. And we get to keep all the cool gadgets we reverse-engineered from your equipment. Tyler's workstation chimed with another incoming message, this one bearing official colonial security seals. Director Rodriguez wants to discuss offering you a permanent position with the Colonial Defense Initiative. Kira read the formal job offer with growing amazement. Instead of facing execution for attempted murder, she was being recruited to help design security protocols that would protect the very people she'd been sent to eliminate. This is unprecedented, she said. Welcome to human problem solving, Alina replied. We don't just solve immediate threats, we solve the underlying issues that create threats in the first place. As the school day ended and other students began filtering into the computer lab, Kira watched the teenagers seamlessly transition from counterintelligence operations to normal social activities. They discussed homework assignments, shared gossip about classmates, and made plans for weekend activities with the same casual competence they'd shown while dismantling her mission. "One question," Kira said as the group began packing their equipment. "How did you know I was an assassin specifically targeting Maya?" Sophia grinned and pulled up a file labeled Threat Assessment Protocol. "Easy. Anyone with your skill set could have infiltrated the school dozens of different ways, but you chose the method that would put you closest to Maya specifically. Plus, your cover story mentioned educational exchange programs, which meant you were planning to be here for weeks." "Assassinations happen quickly," Alina explained. "Long-term infiltrations suggest either intelligence gathering or targeting specific individuals during predictable activities." Tyler nodded toward Maya. "And since Maya's the only student here whose death would have significant political implications, the math was pretty straightforward." Jake laughed at Kira's expression. "Did you really think we wouldn't notice when a genetically enhanced alien supersoldier enrolled in our school the same week Maya's dad started negotiating territorial expansion agreements?" Maya patted Kira's shoulder sympathetically. "Don't feel bad, your infiltration was actually pretty good. We just happened to be paranoid about everything." "Paranoid and prepared," Sophia corrected. "There's a difference." As they left the computer lab, Kira realized she'd learned more about human culture in one day than sectarian intelligence had gathered in decades of study. These weren't the primitive, emotional creatures described in military briefings. They were apex predators disguised as social animals, with technological capabilities that matched their psychological sophistication. "So what happens now?" she asked. Maya checked her tablet, which displayed a schedule packed with meetings, interviews, and planning sessions. "Now we get to work. The Colonial Defense Initiative wants a comprehensive security curriculum implemented across all human settlements within 6 months. And the Sectarian Elimination Corps. We'll probably send more operatives," Alina said casually. "We're looking forward to meeting them." Jake grinned and held up his latest invention. "We've got some ideas for welcoming committees." Kira looked around at the students who'd completely dismantled her life's work in the span of a single school day. They'd turned her assassination attempt into educational content, transformed a military crisis into a diplomatic opportunity, and somehow made her grateful for the experience. For the first time since her genetic enhancements began, she felt like she was part of something genuinely important. "When do we start?" she asked. "Right now," Maya replied, leading the group toward the administrative building. "The galaxy isn't going to secure itself." As they walked across the school campus, Kira noticed other students watching their group with expressions of curiosity and admiration. Word had apparently spread about the morning's events, and her presence had become a source of local celebrity rather than concern. "Do they know what happened?" she asked. "They know enough," Sophia said. "Most students figured out something big was going down when we started live-streaming counterintelligence operations during lunch period." Tyler pulled up social media feeds showing posts from other Terra Nova students. The tone was universally supportive, with many expressing pride that their school had become the site of a successful defensive operation. "Human teenagers love underdog stories," Alina explained, "especially when the underdog happens to be their own classmates." Jake pointed to a group of younger students who were studying tablet displays with obvious fascination. "Plus, this whole incident is going to be case study material for security courses across the colonial network. Those kids are watching their school become historically significant." Maya stopped outside the administrative building and turned to address the group. "Before we go in there and start designing curriculum that could reshape galactic politics, does anyone have second thoughts about this?" Kira looked around at the faces surrounding her, students who'd shown more tactical brilliance in one day than most military units demonstrated in entire campaigns. They were offering her a chance to contribute to something greater than individual achievement, to help protect the very people she'd been sent to eliminate. "No second thoughts," she said finally. "But I should warn you, working with a reformed sectarian assassin is going to generate significant attention." Sophia laughed. "More attention than live-streaming alien infiltration attempts during high school lunch periods." Elena pointed to her tablet, which showed view counts approaching 10 million across multiple platforms. "I think we're past worrying about attracting attention." Tyler nodded toward the administrative building where several official vehicles had arrived. Besides, looks like the attention is already here. As they entered the building, Kira realized she was about to participate in something unprecedented, a collaboration between former enemies that could reshape interstellar relations. These human teenagers had turned her greatest professional failure into an opportunity for redemption and growth. It was exactly the kind of impossible outcome that made humans so dangerous and so extraordinary.